if you look at the situation in Zimbabwe, it's not a money issue, it's a decision issue. Because if you drive around Zimbabwe, just look at what vehicles the Zimbabweans are driving, look at how they are building houses everywhere. So do we really say Zimbabweans don't have money? Or it's a question of priorities? We need to take agriculture more seriously and say we want to build it and make it a generational business. If you look at the double stories people are building, you cannot say people don't have money. Believe me. So if you're driving a car in Zimbabwe, you've bought it. It's not a higher purchase thing. So you can see how much rich we are, but how do we then change the mentality to say, guys, the money that we have, why do we park 6-7 vehicles in one yard instead of building a business that's generational, that will bring money to generations to come? You understand my point? As much as people may want to get the finances, but self-financing has been the game in Zimbabwe. A lot of people are just self-financing. They finance themselves to do whatever they do. Like here at Biano, I told you, we used to run a feedlot, we used to do commercial cattle. So what we did is we sold everything that was in the feedlot. We sold everything that was commercial. So we invested our money in genetics. It cost us around 45,000 rand to buy a cow and a calf in South Africa. So if we brought in 100 animals, it means we invested 4.5 million rands, which is exactly what we did. Now we brought in more than that because it's the money that we're moving from one business to the other business. So we're investing money in what we are doing, but it's self-financing because, like I'm saying, you find somebody, all the people in Zimbabwe, they've got 20-30 animals, maybe of low value. Why don't you just start a new project and go into pedigree breeding? Because we are saying pedigree breeding is where you are selling genetics, you are not selling meat. So when you're selling genetics, we're selling our heifers at $1,500. We're selling our bulls at $3,500. So you're still going to make your money because you pay $3,500 for a bull today. And when you sell a bull, you're going to sell it for $3,500. So just one bull that you bred on a farm is just bringing you the money that you spend on a bull.
It is 15 bulls.
About 15 bulls, yeah. Simmental bulls.
Okay.
And then they are looking at between 30 and 40 heifers.
Okay,
30 to 40 heifers. But it will depend on what the truck can load. Because remember, you can only load so much in a truck.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. When you say about 15 bulls, what age are we looking at?
Working bulls. Working bulls. Bulls that are ready to work.
Okay, that are ready to mate.
Yes, that are ready to mate.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And most of the bulls that you see here is you see these bigger bulls is the bulls that we are selling.
Okay.
We are already selling. So some of the bulls will be coming from this lot.
Okay. All right.
Right. They will be coming from this lot.
And then the 30 to 40 heifers should also be in a stage where they are ready to start.
Yeah, we are going to give them heifers that are not pregnant. You know, to move cattle from here 3,000 kilometers. If they are pregnant, they may abort.
Okay.
So we are advising them to take empty heifers rather than pregnant heifers.
All right.
Yes. Or maybe if they're taking pregnant, they must be very light pregnant, like 2-3 months pregnant. They may not have that problem. But if they are heavy pregnant,
they might have complications.
They may abort. Yeah, you may have complications along the way. Yeah.
Okay. That farmer is in Gwanda, is in Lotito, is in Mutare. How adaptable are they to the local weather?
Right, the Simmentals that we breed here have been bred in Southern Africa for over a century now. So these are not European Simmentals, they are African Simmentals. Okay. It's just like the tulies that have been exported to Australia. You hear them saying these are Australian tulies. Have you heard about it? Or Texas Mashonas or something like that. So these animals, the oldest Simmental head in Zimbabwe is in Namibia. It came in 1896. So you can calculate how many years these animals have been bred here. So they've evolved from the European type where it's very cold. You would find they've got thick fur on them. Look at this bull. You can see it's got a very smooth coat. If you take this animal to Europe, it's going to die because it doesn't have the fur. It won't withstand that weather. So what we breed here is adapted to the African environment. Anywhere in Africa they will survive because they are African Simmentals. These are not European Simmentals. They are now African Simmentals. Can you imagine breeding animals for over 100 years? And we're still talking about adaptation. They are adapted. They are African cattle like any other cattle in Africa here. The most important thing, which I want farmers to understand, is that when we talk about animals, husbandry is a practice. If you don't vaccinate your cattle, if you don't dip them, if you don't deworm them, you're going to have challenges. Doesn't matter what breed it is. Though husbandry is a practice which all farmers must practice. If you go around the country, how many cattle you guys ride every day? How many cattle have died to theileriosis or January disease? How many have died? If you ask us from the Simbra Society point of view, we have not recorded a death due to theileria. Why? Because we do the correct husbandry practice. So most of the cattle that are dying, they are dying where people are told these cattle are resistant, these cattle are dampened, these cattle, then people don't practice the correct husbandry practices. So we need to teach people, our people, everywhere, wherever you are. You must understand that the adaptation is something else, but husbandry is something else. So, as far as I'm concerned, adaptation is human intervention. Do you understand what I mean by that?
Yes.
When I say human intervention is, I've been breeding cattle more than 30 years now. But when we started, we were doing commercial cattle, just the commercial cattle that we were buying from the cells.
Okay.
And then we were breeding those cattle, and then we also had time when we used to run a feedlot. These pens here, we used to run a feedlot. So we would carry about 800 steers in the feedlot.
Okay.
that we were buying from the cells and feeding and selling for slaughter.
Okay.
So after we realized there was a vacuum in the industry, the land reform itself, when the land reform happened, a lot of people, or most of the white people, sent their pedigree stock to slaughter.
Okay.
So in other words, they wouldn't give people those cattle for free.
Okay.
So they decided to kill them.
Okay.
So by killing them, they actually created a huge vacuum, for good quality genetics on the market.
Okay.
So we realized that there was a gap that needed us black people to go in there and identify breeds that were not there on the market and try to bring them and make sure we continued the breeding from where they had left. So this is how we identified Simmental as a breed that we would breed with. We didn't want to do the overloaded breeds. For example, you would have some breeds that we are having people breeding with, like 10,000 registered animals on one breed. So when you breed that animal, what it means is that you are competing with some of the oldest guys in the trade, and for you to penetrate that, it's not easy. But if you then breed with these less popular, where you have a few guys breeding with the animal, then you get to be known very quickly on the market. So it took us a lot of effort to bring these cattle in because there were no Simmentals in Zimbabwe. When you wanted to buy heifers, you would not get them because they would tell you they were slaughtered and this and that. So we had to go out of the country to import our first stock of Simmental cattle.
From where?
We imported a lot of cattle from SA.
Okay.
Yes, so we've got cattle from SA, we've got cattle from Botswana, we've cattle from Namibia.
Okay.
Because we wanted to have a greater gene pool of the Simmental breed itself. And we've managed to do that. I think as Biano Simmentals, we've got the most diverse genetics in Zimbabwe, because we've managed to bring in genetics from around the region. And we also import a lot of semen from outside the country, including New Zealand, Canada, the Americas, Europe, and so on. So we bring in semen that we use for artificial insemination.
How special is the Simmental's breed compared to other breeds? Maybe what drove you to look at this particular type of breed, which is the Simmental's breed?
It's a unique animal. It's a dual purpose animal. So by dual purpose, we are talking about, you can use it as a dairy animal, or you can use it as a beef animal. It fits both. So so in Zimbabwe, you'll understand the dairy sector is quite low. We probably import 50% of the milk into the country. So if you use these genetics to cross even with the cattle from the communal setup, the animal that is born out of that animal has got improved milk. So we can improve milk on any breed by just putting Simmental genetics onto them. So Simmental is one animal that will change heads across the world, not just, should I say, is the most used for crossbreeding in the world. Yeah, because it's one animal that's got the very good traits for beef and very good traits for milk. So if you go to some places in countries like in Europe, in Switzerland, in France, and a lot of those countries, Austria, they are milking Simmental, not the Friesland and the Jerseys. That they milk a lot of the Simmental. Even in Canada, Australia, and so on, they run dairies on Simmental. So you choose what you want to do. You want to produce milk, you want to produce beef. It qualifies on both ends. So I think by whatever is happening, getting these genetics across to Kenya, they are going to benefit immensely. You know the president of Kenya saw our cattle, he liked them. He kept saying, I want this cattle, I want this cattle, and now we are actually working closely with them to make sure we succeed in exporting the cattle to Kenya. And we have already been engaged, and we are talking to them.